and welcome to the first episode in a new build series, where I recreate the iconic APC from the 1986 movie Aliens. Aliens was directed by James Cameron and stars Sigourney Weaver, reprising her role as Ripley in the original Alien movie from 1979. It's a brilliant sci-fi horror film featuring a team of space marines on a mission to investigate a colony of settlers on a distant planet. In short, things don't go well. It has a great story, a great cast, acting and effects, but what gets it for me is the vehicle designs. The Colonial Marines have three now iconic pieces of kit. There's their main ship, the Sulaco, which looks like some sort of space rifle. There's the dropship that they use to get to the planet's surface, and then there's the armoured personnel carrier that transports them when they're on the planet. All three are legendary pieces of design. In this series, I'm going to design and build the APC. This monolithic beast of a vehicle doesn't feature for long in the film, but certainly does have plenty of presence. I'm not going to give any spoilers, but if you haven't seen Aliens, you're really missing a treat. It's one of the great sci-fi movies. Aliens was made back in the day of practical effects. There's no CGI here, and to create the APC, a miniature was used for some of the scenes, but also a full-size vehicle was built. This absolute beast must have looked incredible in real life, but sadly doesn't exist today. Fortunately, scouring the web, I found enough photographs of the original vehicle to recreate a screen-accurate model. With the use of Upscale, a free AI program used to enhance low-resolution images, I can get a clear impression of what the APC looked like back in the day. These will help a lot when it comes to the design stage of this build. The original full-size APC was not built from scratch, but converted for the movie from this. This is a Hunslet ATT-77 aircraft towing tractor. 4 of these were made back in 1968 and were used at Heathrow by BOAC. This was the base vehicle from which the Aliens APC was created at Pinewood Studios. Finding source information for the APC isn't too bad. There is this excellent book, Alien: The Blueprints, which has plans of all the vehicles used in the Alien films. This is a really good starting point, as it has plenty on the APC, with detailed plans of their exterior and interior. There may even be 1 or 2 other vehicles in here which take my fancy as a future build. If there are any you think I should take a look at, let me know in the comments. Right now, let's just focus on this one. Another good book is the Aliens Colonial Marine Technical Manual. This doesn't have much on the APC, but has all you need to know about the Marines and the equipment they use. Back in the day, Halcyon released this 1/35th scale kit of the APC, and for many years it was the best model available. It's pretty good, but has its faults. It's no longer available unless you're prepared to pay collector's prices. Nowadays, lots of people have designed models of the APC for 3D printing, some good, some bad. And it got me thinking, how hard can it be to design my own? After all, it's just a box on wheels. The more I researched, the more I found out about the original, and the more inaccuracies I found in current models. Many of these models have been based on the Halcyon kit, and some on the Blueprints book. The real clincher for me was this set of plans that I found online. These were the original plans from which the APC was built, and were exactly what I was hoping for. I'd struck gold. They gave me everything I needed to build the ultimate APC. A week later, and this is what I had, the most screen-accurate model of the Aliens APC to date. It provided a quick diversion from my other big build, which is starting to fry my brain. This is my base model. There are 1 or 2 minor details I need to tweak, as I'm discovering more, but I'm totally on it with the main forms of the APC. Most of the panels are flat, but those above the front wheels are twisted. This is down to the geometry of the design. On a real APC, all of the panels would be flat, but it doesn't matter here. A very common error with APC models is the wheels. Many have the wrong number and pattern of tread blocks on the tyres. There should be 14 divisions on the side wall of the tyres. With the base model complete, I could generate some renders. These are a great way of checking the overall look of the model. Seeing if the computer model matches the original is always revealing, as a keen eye helps spot any errors. I do have more information on the rear end now, so there are a few details I need to tweak, but it's all good. My next decision was how big to make the APC. The original Halcyon model was 1/35th scale, but I wanted bigger. Having a 3D printer meant I could go for any size, but I had a master plan. If you can guess what that is, leave your idea in the comments. I decided to go with 1/24th scale. The APC is a large chunky vehicle and would give me a model about 363mm long, which would be big enough to get plenty of detail on, but not too big for my master plan. So with the scale decided, the next thing to do is to divide it up for 3D printing. I'd have to split the main hull into 2 parts to fit on my printer, but I also had a couple of other requirements. Firstly, I wanted the wheels to rotate freely. Second, I wanted the turret to be posable in either the raised or stowed position. We'll come on to just how in a minute. Fortunately, the APC breaks down into fairly obvious chunks for printing. Here each part is a different colour, so you can see just how it breaks down. With most of the parts being fairly blocky, setting them up for 3D printing is pretty straightforward. Here they're in the slicer software for my Anycubic M3 Max. The main sections need a lot of support printed like this, but will come out without any distortion. I even managed to fit the turrets on the print bed as well. And here are the prints, fresh off the printer. At first glance all looks good, but on closer inspection there are problems. Where there are internal bulkheads to the main hull, these appear as bands on the outside of the parts. This has affected all the parts on the build plate. I can save the main parts, but the turrets are unfortunately scrap and will have to be reprinted separately. Okay, let's work with what we've got and clean up the main hull parts. A lot of the supports come away by hand, but I use a variety of tools to remove any remnants. These parts were printed directly onto the build plate, and as such the supports do interfere at the base. These areas will have to be cleaned up carefully. And here are the 2 hull parts, fully cleaned up, ready to be glued together. To join them, I'm going to use brass rod as locating pins. These will fit into the holes in the end faces. Everything's going to be glued together with lashings of superglue. This is only done after a lot of test fitting. The join is then given a spray of accelerator, so the parts stay where they're put, straight away. Fortunately, the way I printed these parts, everything aligns, even though there are other issues with these prints. You can find out more about resin printing in my how-to video series. To overcome the banding issue of these prints, I decided to remove the detail and give the APC a dose of car body filler. The exterior detail could easily be added with separate prints anyway, so it wasn't a problem. This was a messy job, but I wanted to get a really good finish on the model, and this was the only way. Next I reprinted the turrets with the wheels. I was concerned about the wheels, trying to get the cleanest prints, bearing in mind the tyre tread was all the way round. This time the turrets came out perfectly, without any distortion, which was a massive relief. And the wheels came out well too. Nice and clean, without any distortion, but let's see how they come off the supports. Well, pretty easy by the looks of things. The layer lines aren't too noticeable, and the treads are nice and clean all the way around, which was something I was really worried about. The back plate for the wheel has also printed cleanly and is easy to take off the supports. Now the wheels get some TLC to remove any small traces of the supports and layer lines. They've come out far better than I hoped, nice and clean with no distortion, and the rear insert fits in perfectly. I am so pleased with these. The turret and its mount also fit together well. The base mount runs on rails down the back of the APC, and it's on this that the turret rotates. I'm going to be using magnets to hold on my turrets. This will allow them to rotate, and for the main turret to be positioned on either the top or the rear of the hull. These magnets are quite big and securely hold the front turret in place. The main turret has magnets in the turret and base mount with corresponding magnets in the hull itself. The turret just snaps into place, which is so good. This will give me the options I need further down the line. I also got some smaller magnets to secure the wheels. They're so useful and great fun to play with. To support the wheels, I bought these bearings. They'll fit inside the wheels and if fitted correctly will allow the wheels to rotate without wobbling. And this is how the wheel unit goes together. I've already glued a magnet to the wheel itself. Next, the bearing is fitted. Then the back face of the wheel is added. The stub axle is printed in ABS and has magnets in the end. They'll be glued into the hull sections of the APC. This is what holds the wheel onto the hull. Here they're just being dry fitted into place. Then I can simply attach the wheel units. They hold themselves on with the magnets and allow the wheels to rotate, just as I'd hoped. Finally, the turrets snap into place, held on with their magnets, and this stage of the build is finally done. I'm so pleased with the result here, but this is just the start of this build. There's still a lot to do. You may have noticed that the doors are separate. That's because this build will have a full interior. In the next episode, I'll be tackling that and also the exterior details. Now that the basic structure is in place, the hard part for me is over. I really enjoy getting stuck into the detail. And in 1/24 scale, this will be a real pleasure. I may even add some lighting. What do you think? The turret up, turret down option works perfectly and is so easy to change. I'm not up for motorising this feature as it would compromise the interior, maybe if it were in a bigger scale. As a basis for the interior, I'll be using the published plans. Most of what's been suggested by these I go along with. There are a few details I need to change, which would have in reality been impractical, but it'll certainly have the right feel when I've finished with it. They'll be a good starting point, and together with the set photos, I should be able to do a good job. This'll be a lot easier than the Milano interior, which was vague at best. Talking of the Milano, that's coming on well, and there'll be a new video out soon. I hope you enjoyed the first episode of my Aliens APC build. If you did, please share with your friends, and make sure you subscribe to my channel. It really helps me a lot. So you catch my next video when it goes live, click on the bell icon. To learn about some of the techniques I use, check out my how-to series to find out more about moulding, casting, CAD design and 3D printing. If you have any questions about this build, just leave them in the comments and I'll get back to you. Thanks for watching.